Okay, so good afternoon. So, pasensya na medyo naglolok ko yung Zoom, medyo naghaha. Okay, so nakita na yung screen, no? Okay, so today we're gonna continue our discussion. So last week, we discussed all about the Ohm's Law. Okay, so diniscuss natin Ohm's Law. Then we also diniscuss din natin yung Kirchhoff's Law. Di ba? Kirchhoff's current law, taka yung voltage law. So, yun sa diniscuss natin last week, diba? Diniscuss natin yung Ohm's law, which is ang formula na ginamit natin sa Ohm's law. We have the B, I, R. Diba? So, ito yung ginamit nating ruling last week. So, kapag hahanapin natin yung volts, diba? Ginagawa natin. So, meron tayong volts. I is for current or current. Yeah, for the current, yung flow. Then R is for resistance. Diba? Yan. So ito yung formula natin for the Ohm's law. Sabi natin, pag kailangan natin yung volts, ano ginagawa natin kay volt, tatakpan lang daw natin yung letter B. So magiging formula natin sa volt is B, I, R. Diba? Then kung kailangan naman daw natin is current, tatakpan lang daw natin yung I. So ang makukuha natin, pag tinakpan yung I is equivalent to BR. B over R. Diba? So pag kailangan naman daw ang resistance, so tatanggalin daw natin, tatakpan natin yung R, may iwan is B over I. So ganyan yung formula natin for the Ohm's law. Then ganyan din yung ginamit natin for the Kirchhoff's current flow at Kirchhoff's voltage flow. Okay? So today, so we're gonna continue our discussion regarding that. So our topic for today is all about electric circuits or electrical circuits. Okay? So let's define a basic circuit. Sabi dito, all electrical circuits have three main parts. So we have the source of energy, we have the closed path, and we have a device which uses the energy. So if any part of the circuit is open, the device will not work. Diba? So parang ganito yan, di ba? Sabi natin, so meron tayong energy source. So this is our energy source, technically is the battery. Then we have the closed path, which is yung wire. And the device which uses the energy. Siyempre, yung kukuha ng energy from the battery is siyempre, for example, itong bulb. Yan. Then sabi natin, any part of the circuit is open, the device will not work. Sabihin, pag naputol tong wire na to, di ba, pag naputol o natanggal sa pagkakabit to sa battery, technically, hindi ilaw yung bulb. So, ganyan ang basic circuit natin. Meron tayong source of energy, the closed path, and the device which chooses the energy. Okay? Yeah. So ways to wire a circuit. So different ways how to wire the circuits. Okay? So there are two basic ways to wire a circuit. Keep in mind that a resistor could be anything. A bulb, a toaster, a ceramic material, or anything. So series, so we have one after another. Then parallel between a set of junction and parallel to each other. So ito yung mga na-discuss natin last week. So continue lang natin siya in a different format naman din. Okay? So this is an example of a series circuit. Series kasi they are connected, di ba? Sa isang diretso lang. Connected natin ay isang diretso lang. Diba? Kaya tinawag na series. One after another. Then pag sinabi naman natin parallel, ganyan siya. So meron tayong junction. So meron ditong flow ng kuryente, tapos may flow din ng kuryente dito, then may flow din ng kuryente dito. So that is the parallel. Okay, so parang sila junction or interconnected. Yan. Yan yung parallel, di ba? So yan yung dalawang klase kung paano natin win-wire circuit natin last time. We have the series and we have the parallel. Okay? So we have the schematic symbol. So before you begin to understand circuits, you need to be able to draw what they look like using a set of standard symbols understood anywhere in the world. Yan. So ito yung mga symbol na makikita natin. So we have this one, yan, is the DC voltage, meaning source of power. Yeah, source or battery schematic symbol. The specific voltage, amplitude, and arrow to the symbol denotes a variable voltage source. You must set the value manually. O, so sabihin, so ito yung do it natin. Pag ganyan, ito yung positive, ito yung negative. Yan. Pag ganyan ang flow natin, that is battery. Tapos pag nakita naman kayo ng ganitong symbol, ibig sabihin yan, that's our resistor. O yung sa resistance natin. Yan. A resistance must be specified. An arrow to the symbol denotes a variable. So, ating resistor. Kaya tinawag din siyang resistor or resistant. It resists the flow of current. Ibig sabihin, pagbukas natin ng power, hindi mabibigla yung component sa pagbigla ang pasok ng kuryente. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng resistor. Resist the flow of current. Diba? So, sila yung bahala sa pipigilan nila yung bigla ang pasok ng kuryente kaya tinawag na resistor. Then, so pag nakita naman tayo nito, ibig sabihin nito, that is voltmeter. Then we have the ammeter sa natin sa current, di ba? So yan yung mga symbol na nakikita natin. Sabihin, hanapin natin yung amplitude, hanapin natin yung current, tapos hanapin natin yung voltage. So yan yung mga symbol na makikita natin. Okay? Especially itong dalawang to. Itong sa power source saka yung resistor. Okay? So yan yung mga symbol na makikita nyo throughout the mga experiments or activity. Okay. Then syempre we have the last switch. Ayan. Symbol for the switch. Also for the battery. Ayan. Then we have also symbol for the light bulb. Ayan. So yan yung mga technical na makikita natin. Okay? For the battery symbol, the long line is considered to be the positive terminal and the short line is negative. Ito lang sinabi natin kanina. Okay? The voltmeter and the ammeter are special devices placed in or around the circuit to measure the voltage and the current. O para ano yan mga tester natin, multi-tester. Yan. Yun yung mga voltmeter at ammeter. Okay? The voltmeter and the ammeter. The voltmeter and the ammeter cannot be just placed anywhere in the circuit. They must be defined or must be used according to their definition. So yan yung symbol natin for the voltmeter and the ammeter. Since a voltmeter measures voltage or potential difference, it must be placed across the device you want to measure. The way you can measure the change on the side of the device. Sabihin daw, kapag voltmeter, ilalagay mo siya sa tabi ng mga device natin such as the resistor. Yan. Voltmeter is drawn across the resistor. Yan. Pag ammeter, measure the current or the flow, it must be placed in such a way that the charges go through the device. So sa device naman daw, so ito yung ating voltmeter. Current change to the ammeter. So ito yung ito yung measure device natin, di ba? Tapos ito naman yung kakuha natin ng measure yung mga resistor. So doon ilalagay si voltmeter. So yung tester, pag magte-test daw tayo, ilalagay natin sa dalawang paan ng resistor. Kung magte-test tayo ng voltage, ilalagay sa dalawang paan ng resistor. Pag sa current naman, pag yung current, yung tester naman, ilalagay nyo naman sa wire. Yan, sa wire naman. Kung papansin nyo, yan yung pinagkaiba nila. Okay, so yun. Pero actually, mga multi-tester naman ang ginagamit natin sa pagkuha ng mga current, resistor, and voltage. So, anywhere mo naman pwede siyang i-place. Pero by the default, yan ilalagay natin across tsaka through. Pag across, voltmeter. Kapag through, ammeter. So, ayan yung mga voltmeter and ammeter natin. Okay? Then, we meron tayong tinatawag na simple circuit. Yan. When you draw a circuit, it may be a wise thing to start by drawing the battery first. Then follow the loop, starting with the positive and drawing what you see. So yan. So kung magdo-draw daw tayo, sabi ganito. So yan, di ba? Positive, yung negative yung battery, di ba? Tapos lalagay mo dito yung resistor mo, ganyan. Tapos tsaka mo ilalagay yung connection sa negative. So this consider as a simple circuit. Yeah, meron kang starting mo sa positive, yeah, tapos yung device mo, so kung ilang pag resistor yan, then it will end daw sa negative. So Sa battery daw, kapag malaki yung guhit, that is positive. Pag medyo maliit daw yung guhit, that is the negative. Yun yung tatandaan natin ha. Positive yung mahabang line, negative yung small line. Okay, so yun ang example ng isang simple circuit. Okay? So ito yung sa series natin. Ayan, this is the series and this is the parallel. So kapag kinonvert daw yung symbol natin, ayan. So series kasi sunod-sunod lang naman yung devices mo. Kapag parallel naman, naka-junction. Okay, so pag dinrawing natin, ganito lang, iba pag dinrawing natin. So this is your resistor. Then you have another resistor. Then we have your another resistor. Then it will end sa negative. Pag sa parallel naman, meron tayong voltage, ganyan. May circuit ka dyan. Tapos kinose mo sa ganyan. Tapos naglagay ka ulit ng another junction. Tapos another circuit. So ito yun, kapag parallel. So dito tayo magpo-focus sa computation natin today. Yung series na to, tsaka parallel. Pero hindi natin gagamitin yung Kirchhoff's law. Yun yung ito diniscuss natin last week. Okay? So we have the series circuit. In a series circuit, the resistors are wired from one another. Since they are all part of the same loop, they each experience the same amount of current. In figure, however, you see that they are all exist between the terminal of the battery, meaning they share the potential voltage. So ito naman example ng series circuit natin, di ba? Series circuit, papasin natin yung direction ng flow natin isa lang. Isa lang yung direction flow, di ba? Yung flow ng kuryente isa lang. Kaya ang mangyayari, sabi, dahil isa lang ang direction flow ng current natin, so pag ganyan lang yung direction flow ng current, ang mangyayari, yung total current natin is equivalent lang sa current ng isa-isa. Ibig sabihin, pare-parehas lang yung current ng tatlong devices. Kapag series, ayan. Pare-parehas lang yung current ng tatlong devices. Kasi nga, isang daluyan lang naman sila, isa lang pinagdadaluyan. Then, dahil series lang din sila, naka-series sila, yung total power mo, i-divide mo lang yung kung ilan sila. Diba? Naghahati lang sila dun sa total power. So, yung voltage, katulad nito, yung total voltage natin, pinaghatian ng tatlong resistor, tatlong ilaw natin. So, ganyan lang naman yung formula. Okay, kapag series, di ba? So, pag sa series, pare-parehas lang yung value ng current. Tapos, yung sa voltage naman, pinaghahatian lang nila. Sinishare lamang kung gaano kadami. Okay? So, parang dito lang din naman yan. So the total for the current is equivalent to current 1, current 2, and current 3, meaning pare-parehas lang sila. For the total voltage, we have voltage 1 plus the voltage 2 plus the voltage 3, and so on. So, ibig sabihin ito, sorry. So, ibig sabihin, yan, so mag-share lang sila kahit gaano pa kadami yung devices mo, di ba? To until n. Tapos ito naman, ganun din, plus voltage 4 plus, then kung ilan silang voltahe. Yan. O kung ilan silang devices na naghahati-hati sa voltage natin. Yan, so yan yung ano natin, diagram natin, di ba? So dahil naka-series sila, so pare-parehas lang yung flow ng current natin. So napapansin natin, sabi natin kanina, yung ammeter natin nilalagay natin true. So ito true. So kaya pag measure natin sila, isa lang. Kasi isang daluyan lang naman nila. Tapos kapag sa device naman, sa voltage, across, ayan, across yung voltmeter. So kukunin natin isa-isa yung voltahe ng bawat devices. So yan yung sa diagram. So dahil isang flow lang, pare-parehas lang yung current. Tapos nag-share lamang sila sa iisang voltahe. Yan, kapag i-represent natin sila into a diagram. As the current goes through the circuit, the charges must use energy to get through the resistor. So each individual resistor will get its own potential voltage. We call this the voltage drop. Kasi nga, halimbawa kung 9 volts sila, tatlong device maghahati, so may kanya-kanya silang power source. So makakuha sila ng kanya-kanyang voltage. So ang tawag daw doon ay voltage drop. Okay? So ang formula natin is ganito. So total voltage is equivalent to voltage 1 plus voltage 2 plus voltage 3, or the summation or the total voltage is equivalent to IR sa Ohm's law natin, di ba? So sa Ohm's law natin, we have V I R, di ba? So pag kukunin natin yung total voltage is current times the resistance. Then kapag sa naman, pag current naman, yan, pwede yung IR1 plus IR2 plus IR3. Pero to series type. Okay? So pag kukunin naman natin total current, di ba? Anong kailangan natin kapag total current is I is over B over R. Then ang total current is halos pare-pares lang naman. Then per resistance, for sa series resistance, so gagawin lang natin R1 plus R2 plus R3. So i-add lamang sila sa bawat isa. So may naman tayong sample dito para maintindihan. Now, they may use that term effective or equivalent to mean total. Yeah, so total lang din naman. So yeah. For example, what is the total resistance for the series circle shown? What is the total current? What is the current across each resistor? What is the voltage drop across each resistor? Applies Ohm's law to each resistor separately. So what is the total resistance? So sabi natin kapag resistance, kapag total resistance, di ba? Total resistance pwede ring R1 plus R2 plus R3. Di ba? Tapos kapag hahanapin naman yung current, di ba? So total current. So total current is equivalent to total voltage over total resistance. Yan, total resistance, di ba? Yan ang formula natin. What is the current across, di ba? IT is equivalent to current 1 plus current 2 plus current 3. No? O, pag naman daw, voltage drop. So voltage drop is equivalent to, di ba? V1 plus V2 plus V3. Kaso paano natin kukunin yung voltage? Paano natin kukunin yung voltage is V1 is equivalent to R1 times baliktad. Yan, talagay natin ay, di ba, using Ohm's law yan, VIR. So voltage is I1 tapos R1 plus ay dun sa voltage 2 naman ganun din. Yan. So voltage 2, so voltage 2 is equivalent to I2 and R2. Okay. Then voltage 3 is I3 over I3 tapos times R3. Okay. So using the following formula, so what is the total resistance? So meron tayong 12 volts, 1 ohm, 2 ohms, and 3 ohms. So using the formula RT is equivalent to R1 plus R2 plus R3, what is the total resistance? Sige, pakisolve. So RT is equivalent to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Six. So this become 6 kasi 1, 2 is 3 plus 3, 6. So RT natin ay is equivalent to 6 ohms. So what is the total current? So the total current is equivalent to IT is equivalent to BT over RT. So what is the total current? The total current is 2 ampere. Paano 2 ampere? So we have IT. Sa IT, di ba? Next, what is the total voltage? Total voltage is 12 volts. So 12 volts. Divide the total resistance mo, which is 6 ohms. So ang current natin ay 2 amperes. Okay. So the total resistance is 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6 ohms. What is the total current using an IBR? O using yung formula natin na IT is equivalent to VR divide RT. So what is the current across each naman daw? So what is the current across each? So sabi natin, dahil isang flow lang naman, pare-parehas lang sila makakuha ng 2 amperes, di ba? So sabi natin, ang formula natin for the resistance, so IT, ang total IT is equivalent din sa I1 is equivalent to I2, which also equivalent to I3. So kaya they each get 2 amps. So what is the voltage drop across naman? So kapag voltage natin, di ba, we have voltage 1 is equivalent to I1 times R1. Voltage 2 is equivalent to I2 R2. And voltage 3 is equivalent to I3 then R3. So ano na yung magiging voltage drop natin? So magiging voltage drop natin is ganyan, di ba? So ang current natin ay 2. Ang resistor 1 natin is 1 volt. So magiging 2 volts. Then ang voltage naman daw ni 3 ohms ay ang voltage daw ni 3 ohms. So we have the ohms, yan, 2. Tapos yung 3, kaya naging 6 volts. Then si voltage 2 naman daw ng 2 ohms, ayan, we have 2 times 2, kaya nakuha natin is 4. So pag in-add daw natin yan, so pag chinek natin is, di ba, BT is equivalent to B1 plus B2 plus B3. So ang B3 natin is 12 volts. 12 volts is equivalent to 2 volts plus 6 volts plus 4 volts. So nakuha natin is 12 volts equivalent to 12 volts. So ibig sabihin tama yung computation. Okay? So ganyan lang po kapag series. So kapag series, ang formula natin sa resistance ay R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus Rn. Diba? So resistance is, sa total resistance, we have R1 plus R2. Yan, plus R3 plus Rn. So pag total current naman, pag total current, IT o total current is equivalent to total voltage divide total resistance. So dahil pare-parehas, dahil naka-series circuit tayo, yung resistance nila ay pare-parehas lang, katulad ng nakalagay dyan. Then what is the voltage drop across each resistor? So gagawin lang natin, voltage 1 is equivalent to current 1 times R1. Okay, so yan po ang sample ng series natin. So nasundan po ba yun? Yung sample natin sa series. Then mamaya mag-sample pa naman tayo more. So may nakuha po ba? Nasundan po ba yung sa series circuit natin? So let's proceed to the next slide. Notice that each individual voltage drop up to the total. So check natin kanina. So ito naman kapag parallel. Parallel circuit, we have multiple loops. So that the current split up among the loops with the individual loop current adding to the total current. It's important to understand that the parallel circuit will also have some position where the current split and the current bump together. We call this junction. The current going into the junction will always equal to the current going out of a junction. So pag ganun din, ang resistance nila is ano naman, IT is equivalent to I1 plus I2 plus I3. So kanina sa series, pare-parehas sila ng current. Sa series, pare-parehas ng current. Dito, sa parallel circuit, ang current nila ay magkakaiba. Okay, kaya ang total current daw is I1 plus I2 plus I3. Notice that the junction both touches the positive and the negative terminal of the battery. This means you have the same potential different in each individual branch. This means that the equal voltage drop are equal. So kapag parallel naman, ang pare-pares naman nila ay voltahe. Sa series, ang pare-pares nila ay resistance. Sa parallel, ang pare-pares nila ay voltahe. So ito yung formula natin. So total for the parallel, total voltage for the parallel is equivalent to V1 equal to V2 equal to V3. The total current for parallel is we have I1 plus I2 plus I3 or PIR yung ginagamit natin or using the Ohm's law, di ba? Then pag kukunin naman daw yung voltage natin, so ganun din, as the current, pareha din ng current, yan. Para daw makuha ito isa-isa, para makuha natin isa-isa yung current, di ba, I1 is equivalent to V1 over R1. Tapos pag I2 naman tao, I2 is equivalent to V2 over R2. Then I3 naman is V3 over R3. Diba? So baliktad naman. Okay? Then kapag ano naman, kapag resistance, ang formula for resistance is 1 over Rp o parallel is equivalent to 1 over 1 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3. Or sabi nga natin last time, it is the reciprocal of the reciprocal. Diba? So in short, pag kinumpit natin yan, is 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. Yan. Ang pagkumpit ng resistance naman sa parallel. Yan. So kapag parallel, pare-parehas lang yung voltage. Okay? Dito pag resistance, yun naman iba-iba. Iba-iba sila ng resistance. Tapos kapag, iba-iba yung current. Tapos pag kukunin natin yung resistance, just is reciprocal of the reciprocal. So para maintindihan, may mga sample naman tayo dyan. Yan, example, what is the total resistance? So yan. Diba? What is the example of the power circuit? So what is the total resistance? So meron tayong 5, 7, and 9. So 5, 7, and 9. So gagawin, 1 over 5. Diba? So ano lang natin, 1 over 5 plus 1 over 7 plus 1 over 9, di ba? So, kung ano yung makompute mo doon, i-divide mo muli siya sa 1. Sa reciprocal muli sila. So, ano nakuha natin? Ano nakuha nyo? So, parehas lang, di ba? So, 300. So, ito 1 divide 5. 1 over 5 plus 1 over 7 plus 1 over 9. So nakuha is 4.54, di ba? Yan. So ganyan natin, pag sa total current, so pag sa total current, di ba, we have IT is we have the VT over RT. Di ba? VT over RT, which is total voltage natin ay 8 volts. 8 volts divide what? Divide the RT. Yung total current natin kanina. So may calculate ba kayo dyan? What will be the answer? What is your total value? Siguro yung calculator. Yan. So, ano compute nyo? Ang total RT natin ay 0.454. Ayan. So, ilang ohms? So, ilang ohms? Ulitin natin. Wala kasi yung calcul mo. Ayusin nyo. So, yung calcul is 1 divide 5 plus 1 over 7. 1 over 7 plus 1 over 9. So that is 0.454. So 1 divide 454 reciprocal. So nakuha natin is 2.2 ohms. Yan. Tapos, so nakuha natin yung total RT. Ayan, total RT. So ngayon i-apply natin. So IT is equivalent to BT over RT. So ang BT natin ilan? 8 volts. Yan, 8 volts divide total ohms natin which is 2.2 ohms. So 8 divide 2.2. So nakuha natin 3.64 ampere. Yan. So next, so what will be the value naman across? What is the voltage across each resistor? So sabi, so dito naman dahil pare-pares naman sa parallel, pare-pares lang sila ng voltage. So kaya naging 8 volts yan. Okay? So pag kukunin naman natin each current, so ganito yung mangyayari, di ba? So we have ohms law, V, I, R. Di ba? So kunin natin na, halimbawa, resistance ng 5 ohms. So resistance ng 5 ohms, for example. So meron tayong voltage. Anong voltage? 8 yan. 8. 8 divide 5 ohms. Diba? So resistance naman ng 7. Ano yung 7? Total voltage. So 8 volts divide 7 ohms. O, so resistance naman ng 9, we have 8 volts divide 7 ohms. So yun yung makukuha nyo. Diba? So for total resistance. So kaya naging, yan. So 8 ohms, resistance ng 5 ohms is equivalent to resistance, we have 8 volts. So dahil pare-pares nga lang sila ng voltage, di ba? Divide 5 ohms. Yan, ito yon. So kunin natin ang current ng 7 ohms. Ito 7 ohms. We have the 8 volts. So pare-pareha nga doon ng voltage. Then the 7 ohms. Then yung sa 9 ohms naman, so we have the 8 volts and the 9 ohms. So parang ganyan yung makukuha natin formula. So magiging sagot, we have 8.5. So 8 divide 5 is 1.6 ohms. 8 divide 7, ilan? 1.14 ampere. 8 volts divide 9 ohms is equivalent to 0.90. Then, i-add nyo na lang uli yan. So, 1.6 plus 1.14 plus 0.90. So, that is 3.64 amperes. So, yun nakuha natin. In total na ay 364 amperes. So, ulitin natin. Notice that individual currents had to be total. So, total lang siya. So, ang gagawin natin, so kapag parallel, ang formula natin kapag parallel, RT is equivalent to, ulitin natin formula ay RT is equivalent to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. Kapag total current naman, pag total current IT, IT is equivalent to total voltage divide the RT. Okay? For individual voltage naman, individual voltage ay BT is equivalent to B1 plus B2 plus B3. Then kapag individual resistance is I1 is equivalent to B1 over R1. Yeah, so yun yung mga formula natin. Okay? So bago tayo dumako sa complex circuit, so complex circuit kasi combination. So ulitin natin. So our formula muna ulit. So the formula for the series. So for the series circuit, so series circuit tayo. So pag kukunin natin si RT is equivalent to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Yan. Then ang IT naman, IT is equivalent to BT over RT, di ba? Over RT. Yan. Then sa series circuit din, IT, total current is equivalent to current 1 plus current 2 plus current 2 plus current 3. Yan, kapag IT. So kapag BT naman, total voltage, di ba? Total voltage is IT, RT. Di ba? Pero kapag series, ang kukunin natin is individual voltage. So kapag kukunin natin individual voltage is voltage 1 is equivalent to I1 R1. Di ba? Pag voltage 2 naman is I2 times R2, then B3 is equivalent to I3 and R3. Then sabi rin natin, BT is equivalent to B1 plus B2 plus B3. Okay? So ganyan ang formula na gagamitin natin kapag kukunin natin sa series. So ang formula natin ito, 1, 2, at 3. Okay? So 3 yan. Una, total resistance, R1 plus R2 plus R3. Pag sa IT naman, or current, total current is equivalent to total voltage over total resistance, which is also equivalent to voltage, current 1 plus current 2 plus current 3. Pag sa total voltage naman, BT is equivalent to IT times RT. Or, kukunin natin isa-isa yung voltage naman. So, B1 is equivalent to I1, R1, B2, I2, R2, then B3, I3, R3. So, yan yung sa series. Kapag parallel naman, so kapag parallel, so RT, sa pagkukunin naman natin yung RT, RT is equivalent to 1 over R1 plus R2 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. Diba? Tapos dito naman, dahil nakaparallel tayo, pare-pares naman yung voltage. So BT is equivalent to IT, RT. Kung sabi nga natin pare-parehas, BT is equivalent to B1 equal to B2 is equal to B2 and equivalent to B3. Yan. Then kapag current naman ay IT is equivalent to BT over RT, di ba? Pero kapag parallel, kukunin natin yung current isa-isa. Kasi iba-iba naman yung flow nila, di ba? So magiging I1 is equivalent to B1 over R1. Then I2 is equivalent to B2 over R2. Then I3 is equivalent to B3 over R3. So yan naman po kapag parallel circuit. Okay? So yan yung mga formula na dapat natin tandaan. Then, may tinatawag naman tayong compound or complex circuit. Pag sinabi naman compound or complex circuit, pinagsama na yung series sa parallel. Okay? So dito naman kapag gagamit tayo ng compound or complex circuit, ang gagawin natin, isosolve muna natin yung sa parallel bago yung sa series. Para bago siya maging series. Katulad nito. Ayan. So meron tayong 80 ohms, 100 ohms, saka 50 ohms. So nakaparallel sila. Nakaparallel. So uunahin muna natin isolve yan. Kukunin natin yung resistance. So 1 over 100 plus 1 over 50, then 1 divide the answer. So nakuha dito yung 33.3 ohms. So yan, so naging series na siya. Then pag naging series na siya, so pwede mo nang kunin yung total resistance. So magiging plus 80. So ang total resistance na daw ay 113 ohms. Okay? So ganyan kapag complex circuit. Uunahin muna yung parallel, kukunin muna yung resistance ng parallel bago siya i-combine doon sa series. Nakuha po ba? Nag-gets po ba yun? So suppose the potential difference voltage is equivalent to 120 volts. So what is the total current? So kung meron na tayo 120 volts, sabihin natin total voltage nila. So IT is equivalent to VT over VR. Diba? So 120 volts divide 113.3. So ilan yun? 120 volts divide 113.3. So ang magiging ampere natin ay 1.06 ampere. Yeah. So what is the voltage drop across the 80 resistor? So pag voltage drop naman, so ganun lang din. So pag voltage drop, isa-isa lang din natin siya kukunin. Kasi bakit isa-isa? Kasi naka-series ka na, di ba? So isa-isa na siya magiging ano. So kapag complex ay pagsasama-samahin muna natin sila. So pagsasamahin muna yung parallel, tapos bago siya gawing series. So kapag naging series na siya, so ang formula natin doon ay series circuit na, hindi na parallel. Okay? So ipaparallel circuit muna natin yung resistance. So pag na-simplify na natin yung resistance ng parallel no, so tsaka siya magiging series. Then, gagamitin na natin yung formula for the series. So what is the voltage drop across the 100 ohms and 50 ohms resistor? So ganun lang din yung ginamit natin kanina. So meron silang 32.5 volt each. Okay? So isa-isa na lang din ginagamit. Okay? So what is the voltage drop across 100? So yon. Then what is the current across 100 ohms and 50 ohms? So parehas lang din. Then add. So that's the end of our presentation. So kapag complex, ulitin natin kapag complex, gagawin in parallel muna, so solve natin yung parallel para maging series na sila. Then paglagay niya, tsaka natin i-apply yung mga value yung ginamit natin sa formula no series and parallel. Okay? So may tanong po ba? Tapos para mag-sample muna tayo. So may tanong po ba? Wala naman tanong.
Yung unang resistor lagi ang hindi gagalawin sir.
Saan? Kapag parallel? Ay kapag compound?
Ay, yung 80. Ayun lagi ang unang hindi gagalawin.
Pag sa compound, uunahin nyo muna yung lahat ng parallel. Kasi ito parallel to. Ito naka-series yan, di ba? Kaso, kailangan kapag complex ka, unahin mo muna yung parallel ito. Yeah, bago mo i-add yung 80. Kasi 80 naka-series yan eh. Itong naka-junction na to, yan, may junction ka dito. So automatically, kapag may junction ka, yan katulad nito, junction yan. that will be considered as your parallel. So unahin muna yung parallel. Hindi tong dalawang to. Unahin muna yung dalawang may junction. Yan. Tapos para maging automatic series sila. Okay po.
Okay po, sir.
So may tanong pa po ba? So kung walang tanong, sige sample tayo. Pero bago tayo mag-sample, wait lang saglit. Okay, let's continue. So let's try the problem number 1. So meron akong I have 6 volts. Yan, 6 volts tayo. We have 6 volts. Then I have resistor 1. So this is resistor 1. So lagyan, i-label na natin siya as R1 para madali siyang hanapin. So we have R1. R1 which is 1 ohms. Then I have another resistor which is sabihin natin R2. So R2 which is equivalent to 1 ohms. Yan. Then close natin yung circuit. Yan. So ngayon, hanapin natin is kapag series, hanapin natin si RT. So RT is equivalent to R1 plus R2. Diba? Then IT is equivalent to BT over RT. So dahil naka-series tayo, so IT is equivalent to I1 equal to I2. So IT is I1 is equivalent to I2 equivalent to I3. Yan. Then for the BT is equivalent to IT RT, di ba? Pero dahil naka-voltage siya, kukunin natin yung voltage natin isa-isa. So B1 is equivalent to I1 R1. Then B2 is equivalent to I2 R2. Okay. So the question is, so i-question natin. So ngayon isolve nyo yung what is the total voltage across the bulb and what is the total resistance of the circuit and what is the current in the circuit. So yun yung makukunin natin. Okay? So sige, paki-solve, pakikuha yung value. So meron tayong total voltage na 6 volts. Then meron tayong resistor 1 which is 1 ohms. Then resistor 2 is 2 ohms. So pag nag-series na kayo ngayon, pag pinagsama-sama nyo na yung mga resistor, pag nag-total resistor kayo, masisimplify na dapat yung diagram natin. So pag kinumbine na sila, so dapat ganito, di ba? So pag kinumbine na natin, ito na lang yung matitira yan. Ganyan na lang matitira sa atin. Ganyan. Which is, ang nakalagay na dito, RT na. RT, tapos 6 volts. So ganyan siya kapag sisimplify nyo yung diagram. Okay, so what is the total resistance? Sige, solve nyo ano what is the total resistance? What is the current of the circuit? Ano yung current natin? And what is the total voltage across the resistors? Ano yung mga total ano natin? Sige, kunin. Resolve. So what will be the value? Ganun muna yung RT. Nakuha na agad yung RT. So dalawa lang naman yung resistor nyo. So ano yung RT natin? So RT is 2 ohms lang. Kasi R1 is 1 ohms. 1 ohms din sila. So that is 2 ohms. So meron tayong 2 ohms. So what will be the total, what is the current? So current is BT over RT. So BT natin is 6 volts. So magiging 3 ampere. So IT, BT. So magiging 6 volts. 6 volts divide the total current. So magiging 3 amperes. So Meron tayong 3 amperes. So, RT natin, nakuha natin RT is 2 ohms. Then IT natin ay 3 ampere. Which is sabi natin, IT is equivalent to I1, which is equivalent to I2, which is equivalent to I3. Then, what is the total voltage drop? So, ano naman yung voltage drop natin? So, voltage drop is B1 is equal to I1 R1. Then, B2 is equivalent to R2 I2. So, ano ngayon ang voltage drop natin? So, tig ilan daw sila? So, voltage drop ay B1 is equivalent to 3 ampere. D1 tapos I1 tapos R1 which is 1 volts. So, ilan yan? 3 volts. So, they are 33 volts sila kasi I1 is 3 amperes, R1 is 1 ohms. So, 3 volts. So, parehas lang sila. So, B1 is 3 volts, B2 is 3 volts. 3 volts din sila B2. So, ang total, BT is equivalent to B1 plus B2 which is 6 volts equivalent to 3 volts plus 3 volts which is total of 6 volts. Okay? So, medyo madali lang kapag series, di ba? So, ganun lang ang gagawin natin kapag series. Okay? So, next. So, I have another sample for series. So, ganun din ulit yung kukunin nyo. Meron akong battery. So, battery ko ay 9 volts. Sabihin natin 9 volts battery. Meron akong resistor 1 na 2 ohms. So, R1 is 2 ohms. Ayan, 2 ohms. R2, meron akong R2. Ang R2 ko ay 3 ohms. Then, R3. So, ito ang R3. Is equivalent to 1 ohms. So, solve nyo ulit. Solve natin ang what is RT. Find the RT. Find the IP. And find the voltage across. Find B1, find B2, and B3. Okay, so yeah, you see the series circuit. So what will be the value? So pag ganyan, kunin mo na R1, tapos kunin mo na R2, then kunin mo na R3. So pag series, di ba? Ano pag series, i-add lang ang resistance. So ilan yan? So pag in-add nyo, ilan yan? R1 is 2 ohms. R2 is 3 ohms. R3 is 1 ohm. So total RT is how many? That is so add lang 2 plus 3, 5 plus 1, 6. So meron tayong 6 ohms. So pag nakuha natin yung 6 ohms, IT is BT over RT. So 9 volts. So 9 volts divide 6 ohms. So 9 volts divide 6 ohms. So magiging ilan niya? So calculate. So calculate. So meron tayong so ampere is 1.5 ampere. So ang total RT natin ay 6 ohms. Total IT natin ay 1.5 ohms. Ay 1.5 ampere which is equivalent to IT is equivalent to I1 which is equivalent to I2 which is equivalent to I3. So pag ganyan, so what is the voltage drop? So what is voltage 1? What is voltage 2? And what is the voltage 3? So using the Ohm's law, what will be the voltage 1? What is the voltage 2? What is the voltage 3? So formula natin for voltage using the Ohm's law. B1 is equivalent to I1 R1, B2 is equivalent to I2 R2, and B3 is equivalent to I3 R3. So what is the value for B1? What is the value for B2? And what is the value for B3? So paki-solve na lang using the Ohm's law formula. B1 ay 3 volts. Okay, tama. B1 is 3 volts. B2 is 4.5 volts. Okay, tama. And B3 is 1.5 volts. So, we have 3 volts. We have 4.5 volts. And we have the 1.5 volts. Then, add. So, dapat pag i-add natin yan, that's equivalent to 9 volts. So 3, 4.5 is 7.5 plus 1.5, that is 9 volts. So tama yung sagot. Okay, so ganun lang kadali kapag ano, no? Kapag sa series, i-combine lang natin yung value. Okay? So next, so may dako naman tayo kapag parallel. Magka-parallel tayo. Okay? So kapag parallel, so for example, I have a 9 volts. So meron tayong 9 volts. So I have 9 volts. Yeah. So we have R1. So this R1. So R1. R1 is 2 ohms. So R1 is 2 ohms. Then we have R2. Sabihin natin R2 is 3 ohms. Then R3. So this is R3. Yeah, sorry, airport drawing. So R3 is 1 ohms. Then find the RT. So RT is 1 over 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2 plus 1 over R3. Tapos dito naman voltage pare-pareho. So VT is equivalent to ITRT. Then pag IT naman, we have VT over RT. Kapag dito naman sa parallel, ang pare-parehas naman ay voltage. Ang hahanapin natin ay resistance. Isa-isa ng resistance. Okay? So yun yung mga formula natin. Okay? Kapag parallel, ang pare-parehas sa kanila ay voltahe or voltage. So meaning, VT is equivalent to V1, which is equivalent to V2, which is equivalent to V3. So pare-parehong voltage. So pag IT naman, hahanapin natin, IT is equivalent to I1 plus I2 plus I3. So pag kukunin yung current, I1 is equivalent to V1 over R1. So, yun. Solve na. What is the value of RT? What is the value of VT? And what is the value of IT? What is the value of I1, I2, and I3 using the following formula? Sige po. Tatandaan, kapag parallel circuit tayo, ang kukunin natin ay yung current dahil pare-pareho sila ng voltage. And current lang yung magkakaiba. Okay. Then what will be the value of the following? Paki-solve na lang po. So, ilan yung sagot natin dyan sa mga value na yan? Sige, pakisolve. Ilan na siya, ilan? Ilan? Nakuha na yung sagot. So what is the value of RT? What is the value of BT? And what is the value of each current? So ilan po yung sagot? What is the value of RT? So total voltage natin dito same lang. So 9 volts lang sila lahat, di ba? So 9 volts lang ang total voltage natin. Pare-parehas lang din naman. So what is the total resistance? Ilan yung total resistance natin? So 1 over 2, 1 over 2, 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 plus 1 over 4, ay 1 over 1. So 1 divide yan, sir. That's May na-compute. So what is the computed value? Meron na ba? May na-compute na ba sa RT? Sa voltage natin, pare-parehas lang naman, which is 9 volts. So ano yung RT natin? So what is the value of RT? So RT ano lang? So 1 over 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 plus 1 over 1 over 1. So RT is 0.55 or 0.54 pwede rin naman. So 0.545. O sige, sabihin na natin that's equivalent to 0.55. Kasi 0.545. Yan. O equivalent din naman sa kung gusto round off mo is 0.55. O meron na tayong total resistance. So what is the total current? The total current or the individual current? So pag individual current, gagawin nyo ay ilan? So B1. So total current is 4. Tama. So magiging 9 volts over 2 ohms. Yan. So kaya nakuha is 4.5 ohms. So yun, tama. So isa naman ay 9 volts over 3 ohms. Yan. So nakuha niya ay 3 ampere. Tama. Then 9 volts over 1 ohms, which is equivalent to 9. So this is 4.5. Then this is equivalent to 3. This is equivalent to 9. So 4.5. So the total current is 16.5, which is VT over RT. So ayan naging 9 volts divide 0.54. So that is 16.6. So 4.5 plus 3 plus 9, that is 16.5 or 16.6. Okay? So yan po, kapag sa parallel. So tatandaan lang kapag parallel circuits, so ang gagawin natin kapag parallel circuits, i-reciprocal lang natin yung resistance. Kaya sabi natin kapag parallel circuit is resistance sa reciprocal of the reciprocal. Then kapag sa parallel circuits, ang hahanapin lang natin yung IT. Kasi pare-pareho naman sila ng voltahe. So pare-parehas naman ng voltage. Okay? So may tanong po ba? Nasusundan po ba yung topic natin for today? Sige. Sige. So isang sample ulit. Isang sample na lang tayo. Example naman ay so meron akong kwento. So meron akong 100 volts. So I have 100 volts. So meron akong R1. Meron akong R3. R2. Yan. So meron akong R1. R1 is 1,000 ohms. Then R2 is 1,500 ohms. I have R3, which is also 100,500 ohms. Then meron akong R4, which is 150 ohms. Yan, so complex. So kailangan nyo mo i-simplify muna yung parallel circuit natin. Okay, sige. So simplify mo yung parallel circuit. Pag na-simplify nyo yung parallel circuit, so magiging ito yung dapat itsura niya. So pag sinimplify natin yan, so dapat R1 na lang may iwan, R1. Tapos sabihin natin, this will be your R6 kasi kinumbine mo na. Tapos this is R4. So pag ganyan na siya, pwede mo nang hanapin yung mga katulad na ginagawa natin for the series circuit. What is the voltage? So pwede mo na rin isa-isahin yung voltage niyan. Pwede mo na rin isa-isahin yung current. Yan. Pwede mo na i-apply yung yun. Dito naman, isa-isa na natin na kapag complex, isa-isa mo lang hanapin yung voltage 1, voltage 2, voltage 3, voltage 4. Tapos isa-isa mo na rin na hanapin yung current 1, current 2, current 3, and current 4. Yan. Okay, so yan po. So na-simplify natin. Simplify muna natin. I-combine muna yung parallel, which is yung 1,500 ohms. So, yanin muna natin. Diba? So, pag ganyan, i-combine nyo muna. So, 1 divide 1 over 1,500 plus 1 over 1,500. So, ang sagot doon ay 750. So, pag kinumbay natin itong 1.5 tsaka 1.5, ang makukuha natin ay 750 ohms. Yan, 750 ohms na. Kasi parallel, di ba? So, naka-parallel ka na. So, ito ay 100 ohms. 100 ohms. Tapos, meron kang 150 ohms. Yan. So, pinarallel ko muna na ito. So, 1 over 1.5. Yan. plus 1/1/5. So, ang nakuha natin dito ay 750 ohms. So, 750 ohms. So, meron na tayong total voltage which is 100 volts. 100 volts. Then, ano yung RT natin? So, RT natin will become, ayun, 100 plus 750 plus 150, ilan? 100 plus 750 plus 150. That is 1,000 ohms. So, 1,000 ohms. So, meron na tayong BT, 1,000 ohms. Meron na tayong RT. Meron tayong BT, 100 volts, 1,000 ohms. Then, pwede mo nang kunin yung voltage 1 at current 1. So, kapag voltage 1, current dyan, kunin mo na rin. So, what is be the IT? What's the total IT? IT is BT over RT. So, ilan yan? 100 divide 1,000. That is, ang total IT mo, total IT is equivalent to 0.1 amperes. So, meron ka ng 0.1 amperes. Tapos pag ganyan, pwede mo nang kunin yung individual na current. Diba? So, individual voltage, BT, so B1 is equivalent to I1 R1. O, diba? So, 0.1 times 100 ohms. Ilan yun? So, 0.1 times 100 is equivalent to what? Equivalent to 10. Tapos ganun din, B1, B2, I2, R2, B3, R3, R3. Yan lang. So, tapos yun na. Masosolve na natin lahat. Okay? So, ulitin natin, kapag sa complex or compound, ang gagawin muna, pagsasamahin lang muna natin yung parallel. Yung dalawang parallel muna. Pag na-combine na natin yung parallel, ito yung magiging kalalabasan. R1, tapos may panibago ng RC, sabi natin R6 na, so which is yung 1/1/1.5 plus 1/1.5, equivalent to is 750. So ito na siya. Sinad, 100 plus 750 plus 150. So may total current na tayo ng 100 ohms. Meron na tayong total voltage na 100 volts. So pwede mo na makuha yung total current. So pag nakuha natin yung total current, pwede mo na isa-isahin lahat yan. Isa-isahin yung voltage, isa-isahin yung mga computed value natin. Okay? So ganun lang kapag parallel, kapag complex. Tatandaan kapag complex, parallel muna, tapos saka mo siya gagawing series circuit. Pag na-series circuit mo na, pwede mo na hanapin lahat ng mga value na required. Okay? So, nasundan po ba yun yung paggamit ng complex? So kapag complex, parallel muna. Kapag complex, uunahin muna yung mga junction, ha? Bago yung mga series. Paano natin malalaman yung junction? Ito yung mga naka-parallel mismo. Kaya parallel yung mga nakatayong value. Okay? So, paano natin malalaman kapag parallel, ganyan na itsuran mo. Yan. Ganyan itsura ng value. So, halimbawa, pwede rin ganito. Yung ganyan. Oh. Yan. So, halimbawa, may circuit dito, tapos IC dyan. Yan, consider din yan as parallel circuit or compound. So, pag ganyan, unahin mo muna ito bago mo i-combine dito. So, same din kapag ganitong value, yan, tapos ganyan, uunahin mo muna natin yung nandito. Yan, bago mo siya i-join dun sa kabila. Ganun lang yung steps kapag complex circuit. So, unahin mo na yung parallel, computein lang natin yung parallel, i-combine mo na yung resistance ng dalawang parallel bago i-combine sa complex sa series natin. So, ganyan po ang pag-compute ng compound circuits. Okay po. So, may question po ba regarding dun sa naging topic natin for today? Okay. So, may question po. So, in-upload ko naman ito mamaya itong slide. So, pati yung video. Mamaya may upload yung video na to tsaka yung video last week. Hindi ko kasi na-upload. So, medyo lang. Okay. So, may question pa po ba? So, may question pa po? Wala naman po. Okay. So,
Yes,
So if there's no question, so that will be all for today. So kita na lang po tayo bukas para sa quantity. Okay po? So yung activity na inilipat lang natin yung oras ng calculus lab, nilipat ko lang naman siya. Wala naman problema kasi ano naman yun, wala naman tayong meeting for the calculus lab. So upload ko na lang yung mga activity. Okay? So that's it. So thank you po. Kita na lang tayo bukas.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
Salamat, sir.
Bye-bye.
Sir.